So, hello everyone, welcome on my channel. Today I have the pleasure to be live with the cold dance of Sweden with Mr. IA, Mr. Mattias Eklundh, here from the band Free Kitchen. Hello Mattias, nice to meet you.
Hello, how's it going? Nice to meet you too.
It's an honor to have you here on my channel, so thanks for accepting the request.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Took a few weeks to get it sorted out,
Yeah,
but here
of
we are.
course, yeah, I understand. There's no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah.
So for the youngest people who didn't know you, can you just make a brief introduction of yourself?
Oh,
A
good
brief
God.
one.
Yeah. Yes, well, I am a middle-aged man who has been playing guitar for, well, forever, pretty much, and making music, writing music, and I also play the drums, and I'm in a band called Freak Kitchen, and I also have my little solo escapades, my freak guitar camp, freak audio lab, freak whatever. So yeah, that's what I do. Play eight-string guitars with funny frets and make silly music.
What was your first contact with the guitar? I said in other interview with Ola that it started with AC/DC on TV. That's the starting
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it was AC/DC and Kiss
Yeah.
and a bit of Alice Cooper, back in the mid 70s. And I saw AC/DC, Swedish television broadcasted an AC/DC concert in black and white and everything. And it completely floored me. I went absolutely mad. I'm not sure if I look into the camera or at you. It doesn't matter. If
Oh,
my
doesn't matter.
if my eyes are wandering away, it's not because I'm on drugs or anything. I'm not. So I have to look at Alex. But it was, yeah, it really. There and then, pretty much, I made up my mind, and then Kiss came into the picture as well, and some. It was basically the stage show, the fire and the blood and everything. It's like, what the hell? Opening Alive 2 and looking at the cool front cover of Destroyer and everything. And so, yeah, that started it. My sisters listened to Alice Cooper, the Billion Dollar Babies album, and I thought that was really hot shit as well. So yeah, but I picked up the guitar maybe a few years later, playing just three chord songs. Originally I was a drummer,
Oh, okay.
but I had to write some songs, punk songs called "Homework Rots My Mind" and "Go to Hell" and other stuff
Okay.
you would perform when you were 10 years old. So yeah,
Okay. So it started with the drums at the beginning. That's it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
And
still
then,
play the drums quite a lot. So
okay.
yeah.
And for the guitar, how it started? You started on electric guitars directly, I guess,
Yeah, yeah,
because of
pretty
your
much.
friends.
My sister, my older sister, was in a band called Long Live the Dog,
Ah,
Länge leve hunden, and she would bring stuff to the house. We had a big house and with a big family living in and everything. So I would just mess around, maybe playing a bit of bass, and she had a Duke electric guitar. Dreadful guitar. I still have it somewhere buried
oh,
here in the Freak Audio Lab. I thought it was really cool, and she had a broken speaker in a Hagström amplifier, and that created a bit of distortion, and I like distortion. If nothing else works, even now, when I record, okay, I just got to distort this and it will work right away. Oh, the snare is wimpy, distort it. The voice doesn't come through, distort it. So I like distortion. Yes.
okay. So it started like that. So it was not a seven strings or eight strings guitar first, I
No, no,
guess.
no, no, no. I didn't even exist back in the days.
Ah, okay.
This was in the, I was born 1969, and this was in the 70s. So
So
yeah,
okay.
I was happy enough if I had six strings. So yeah.
Okay, fine. What about your musical education? Did you take some courses, personal courses, or you went to school of music? How did you practice the
Not
instrument?
Rather the opposite, I would say. Um, I'm a complete barbarian when it comes to. I understand, and I have read lots of musical, whatever about notation and musical theory and everything. But I did it on my own because I took one or two flute lessons, I think, when I was 10, and I hated it due to it was a really tremendously bad flute teacher, I guess, that kind of drained all energy off the flute. It was an ugly flute anyway. But since then, I pretty much I decided not to be a complete ignorant musician, and this is a story I've told many times. But in my shredding teenage years, I would, sit and sweep and swoop and do this kind of stuff. And my sister, same sister that was in Long Live the Dog,
Oh yeah.
came into the room and asked if I could just play a major seven chord. and I didn't know what it was. And I could sweep and I could pick and I could tap and I could do this, but I didn't know how to play a major 7 chord. And it pissed me off to a great extent. So I went to the library and realized that there's so much I do not know. And it kind of fell into place like from one day to the other. So, oh, these are the black dots, and also this is like a Lydian scale, and this is a relative key to the Aeolian scale, and boom, it would just explode. And I know this stuff. And how do you build a chord? Why is it called a major 7? Why is it called a flat 7? And it's like, yeah, I can play a major 7, piece of cake. So I'm a friend of knowing your shit, but I don't rely upon it. I don't write music sitting down with a piece of paper, and I just create. I play, and then sometimes afterwards I have to figure out that bloody hell, this song is in 75 30-second notes. How peculiar. Because otherwise, for me at least, it's starting in the wrong end. You start with inspiration and try to channel what's out there and record it and manifest it, so but it's good to know your shit. It really is, because it's a language, and it's good to know a language, so yeah.
So okay, it started pretty quickly with the musical theory, so it was a few years after you take the guitar. That's it.
Pretty much, yeah. My teenage years, when I really decided to play guitar instead of drums, and lock myself up and shred my pants off, so yeah.
Okay, so impressive. And just to conclude the first guitar part, it was about the gear you use. What are the total guitars you have?
I actually don't own a 7-string. I've never liked a 7-string guitar because I've used many different tunings, and I've tuned it down to 7-string territory, to whatever, B or A flat and so on. So I always felt really awkward because it's an odd number, and I do like odd time, but odd numbers in terms of strings, it doesn't really make any sense to me. So the 8-string guitar is my main instrument. I have a 9-string guitar as well, and a shitload of 6-string guitars, but no 7-string guitar for.
No 7-string. Okay, I thought it was 7. No. But okay. Do you use simulation, analogic stuff, or what's?
Yeah, nowadays I use for many years, and I still use them. I use Laney, British amplification, really good friends and wonderful amps that I like, because you plug in and you have to fight it a bit, and you have to get your shit together, which is always good. I get nervous when I play if it's too easy, because I overplay anyway. But if I have to struggle a bit, I kind of choose my notes wisely, so to speak. But I love the Laneys because they're really in your face, But I use the Helix, the Line 6 Helix, a lot, because it's really convenient, and it works in a musical context. And it's so easy to, because I'm a lousy keyboard player, and I play a lot of keyboards anyway, nobody told me not to, but it's so easy to create textures and whatnot with the Helix, and you mess around. And playing an 8-string guitar, the Helix is better than the Laney, but playing 6-string guitars, the Laney is really nice, because it's hard to play a loud tube amplifier with an 8-string guitar. It's so noisy and so on. With the Helix, it's really in the face, but pretty much the opposite if you play 6-string guitar, at least for me, because then I really like the tube amps working. But the Helix is divine, and so are the Laneys. So yeah.
Okay. It's very convenient. Yeah, we saw the Helix, I guess, at the Free Guitar Camp, when I see the videos of Romain Morlot from the Guitar Cookbook.
I remember.
There were a lot of videos who talked about the Free Guitar Camp. I discovered using his videos. So
many Helixes. They are very kind to us, Line 6 and Yamaha. Nice. So yeah, they lend me a bunch of Helixes and headphones and stuff. So, and the Laney has been really good, as supportive as well. So yeah, good.
Nice. So now let's talk about your band, the famous band Freak Kitchen. Can you just explain to us briefly again how it started? I guess it was in 1992, if I remember well.
Yeah.
So
a long time ago. A long time ago in the country of Sweden, in Northern Europe. Yes, well, I returned from Copenhagen and the band Fate, where I stayed for 3 years. And I was really eager to do something of my own. I've learned show business, and I knew pretty much what I didn't want to do. Show business is a nasty place to be, and if you want to survive in it and make a decent living, you have to really avoid a lot of things. So what I do, even to this very day, is to turn most things down all the time. I say maybe 1 in 100, I say, yes, I agree to do this, be it whatever, can we send you stuff, or can we get you involved here? Do you want to work for us? And you can make lessons in our super duper app. And I said, nah, it will take time away from the stuff I'm meant to do, which is create freaky music. But Free Kitchen was, put together pretty much in 1992, and we did a lot of demos. And thanks to my Copenhagen years with Fate, I had some attention in Southeast Asia and especially Japan. So we went straight for Japan together with my good friend to this very day. My right hand, Torben Schmidt in Denmark, the singer of Skagerrak. He's a clever guy. So he thought, well, let's exploit this attention. So he went to JVC Victor in Japan, which was a big record company at the time, and said, we have this guy, Mattias Eklundh, and he just put together a new band, and you liked him in the previous stuff he did in Fate, and can we have some upfront money? And yes, they gave us a whole pile of dollars, so we could finance the first album and even go on a strange tour in Germany for 3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
So yeah.
So yeah, incredible. Yeah. Um, I wanted to ask you, when did you produce last solo album?
2013, there was Free Guitar, the Smorgasbord. They all have Free Guitar something. The first one is called Free Guitar, and then it's Free Guitar, the Road Less Travel, which
Okay, I
was
didn't saw that.
2005-ish, I guess, or 2004. And then I did a double album called Free Guitar, the Smorgasbord, which was probably a bit too much for the inhabitants of planet Earth to take, because it's very intense, and I bet not so many people have heard the last songs of the second CD. Some have, but but you do what you do, and I was really happy to have Steve Vai releasing it worldwide on his Favorite Nations label. I don't even know if it's around anymore. We took back the catalog because nowadays you don't really need a label in that sense. But Steve has been super duper nice in so many ways. So thank you, Steve. So yeah, 2013. And since then, it's been Free Kitchen stuff. And I did some stuff with Art Metal, Jonas Hellboy. And nowadays I'm putting out Freak Audio Lab stuff. I just record when I want to and feel inspired. And it's kind of cool with today's technology in a way. You sit on your ass in the Freak Audio Lab, and at the end of the day, you may have something pretty cool and listenable, and then you tweak it and twist it and turn it and make it the best you can where you are in life. And then boom, I'll send it to Torben, and he says, well, when do you want to release it? I don't know, 2 weeks from now. So he can just grind through all the algorithms and all that stuff. And it's cool, and it's quite rewarding. And then as soon as I send it off, I move onward to something else. And I like that. I may make another Freak Guitar album, or right now I'm actually working on a strange disco album that will be released early 2022 under the name of Freak Audio Lab. And this morning I've been singing. So yeah, it's good fun, because for me it's about learning and progress and going where you haven't been before, walking the road less traveled, so to speak. And during this strange last year, I bought a lot of equipment that I thought, how do you do this? And how do you do that? I want to do this. What do I need to get? And then I bought a lot of gear, and I want to learn how to work with filters, and I need some new compressors, and I need this and that. And then it turned into some strange disco album. And well, I can't wait to get it out there. It will be 10 strange pop songs from Sweden. So yeah.
Okay, so next solo album in 2022. Okay, nice to know.
Yeah.
And
a new Free Kitchen album. The second half is the plan, where we can hopefully tour properly all over the place. So that's the plan. So there are so many people now. I got my gig canceled, and people have been waiting for a long time as things start to open up. So we said, well, we haven't really got any new material ready for release yet. So let everybody else do their thing, and then boom, we'll be back.
Oh, it's good. Nice. You're coming back to Europe, perhaps, or?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And France too?
Yeah, of course. We love France.
Nice.
Of course.
Perfect. Okay. How do you compose a new song? What is your process, your own process? You're starting with the lyrics, with the riff, with
Yeah, well,
whatever?
it's pretty different every time, I guess. Sometimes I can have just a word
Yeah.
that I can't get it out of my thick head, or sometimes it can be just something I've been drumming on the steering wheel, like just a rhythm, or sometimes it's an interval, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's a sentence, and sometimes it's just a melody, and then I'm very sensitive what kind of words I want to sing over it, because words can ruin the melody if they are not right in your oral opening. And but nowadays I'm extremely productive. I told myself to wrap up the disco album in a few weeks, and then I will continue working on the Free Kitchen album, and I'm also working on new Free Guitar Camp 2022 material, as well as some free guitar, maybe third or fourth solo album ideas as well. And I love doing this, and I love just building something out of nothing, walking into this house that I have here in my garden. That is my studio and playing ground. And with today's technology, you can do so many things in very little time and get really up and running. You have to make it your own. You have to twist and, turn and tweak it. So I do everything from scratch. I get behind the MIDI kit, or I play keyboards and I do that stuff. But I have my drum kit over here as well. But it doesn't sound nowhere as good as the sample stuff I do. But I combine this with messy lo-fi technology, shit microphone and distortion,
Mm.
and just do some drumming with whatever, uh, world music percussion from some strange place. So it's what was the question?
No, it
I
was
don't
about
remember.
how does the musical process,
Oh yeah,
composition
yeah. So
process starts.
yeah, so it's different every time,
Yeah.
and I am really lousy at kind of, people ask, can you have a studio tour and can you make a making of? As a
Mm.
it's really nothing to see. It's just me in a big cloud of smoke thinking. I could just sit on my ass and think for an hour, just think, and or just, cut the grass in the garden, and then you think, and then wah, you puke it out,
Yeah.
So and this morning I didn't believe I was going to finish some lyrics, and it just happened. It just happened. I was doing something completely different, and then it just boom in my head. And
Yeah.
so I just wrote it down, and but the process began, I think, last week.
Yeah.
And then you kind of you puke it out and manifest it, and I'm very fascinated by the creative process. I have no clue where it's coming from, and it's very exciting. I think it's true magic
Yeah.
to do something, from nothing, and lean back, and you intoxicate yourself
Mm.
with your work. And I think for me, being a family man and a composer or musician is what gives life purpose.
Mm.
It's really the meaning of life for me. This is how what I want to do: be a good husband, be a good father, be a good dog owner, and take care of the house and garden and the forest and the studio, and fill up the cars, pay the bills, pay the taxes, blah blah blah, and then make music and go on the road and try to spread some good vibes and have the free guitar camp, and meet the coolest people of the planet. So I am talking a lot.
No, that's perfect, and that's very nice purposes. So, another question about your influences. So, you were talking about Frank Zappa that you love a lot, which is a very major influences in your game, as you said.
Mhm.
But I saw also that you are talking about jazz music, which is another influences, and
Jazz music in
yeah,
general, you
and
mean? Or?
jazz music in general. I saw on other interview and
Yeah,
papers. So, I wanted to
yeah.
know what it brings into your music.
There's certainly a lot of jazz I can, get off to. As I love this, but there's an equal or even more amount that I will just feel, this is just intellectual bullshit, or this is, I'm trying to be smart, and stop that chromaticism. I'm going crazy. Play a simple melody, god damn it, So there's lots of great contemporary jazz music, but when I listen to it, it's usually the classics, the stuff that's even on my on my iPod device.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the
You
old
know,
one.
tons and tons of old Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong and lots of Django, of course, you
Oh,
know, and
okay.
stuff like that. The classics, and then every once in a while there's some really really hot shit popping up, and I thought, bloody hell, this is the next level, and so on. But the thing is, I don't really nowadays. I don't listen a lot to other music at all. I buy some stuff. Usually it's soundtrack music or
Mm.
gaming music, because it's pretty different from what I'm doing. But I get inspired by again the textures and, oh bloody hell, how did they put this together? I don't
Mm.
even know what kind of instruments this is.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I like all music. I like pop music and metal or anything, you know, acoustic, whatever, singer-songwriter stuff
Okay.
or obscure contemporary classical music from Kazakhstan. You know, anything that has a
Yeah.
purpose and is doing something to me is kind of valid to go into the phone or iPod or, you know, burn a CDR for the car, whatever. I'm not a Bluetooth kind of guy, so yeah.
You said too that you are interested in textures, like in movie soundtracks, for example. You have a lot of this. I thought about Hans Zimmer. Perhaps you like this composer, I guess, because he uses a lot of different textures. So, for example, he uses a bow on the guitar to make original textures. So,
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
a thing you're trying to do more and more in your music, or perhaps it's natural for you now, I guess?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't really have a plan. I
Okay.
do what each song for me needs to have.
Mm.
Usually, I record the core, I frame it, the arrangement, and everything, and then I decorate it.
Okay.
And decoration is very much about textures. It's like, well, this feels claustrophobic. I need to, you know, do something, add some whatever, just play a cymbal to
Okay.
raise the, you know, the roof or whatever, the sonic roof. And textures are really, it's again with it can just be some ambient sound, you
Mm.
know. And for the all the gear I bought now is really really good because I can just put my finger on a keyboard here, and this sound sounds ridiculous alone, but it really belongs here, and it's doing
Mm.
something to the composition, you know. And with the stuff I'm doing for the Free Guitar Camp, which is this long, complex songs with a lot of musical tools and rhythms and everything, you have to decorate it like a roller coaster ride. You know, sometimes it's really dry and in your
Mm.
face and boom, you know, and sometimes it's really, you know, lush and big and it's slippery and so on. Boom,
Mm.
back together. So sometimes it's tiny, sometimes it's big, sometimes it's clean, sometimes it's distorted.
Yeah.
So I work a lot with that. I get very tired with music that's just like a big fat sausage. It's maxed out all the time. I
Mm.
really need dynamics, you know, and it can
Yeah.
be super aggressive and metal and everything, but it has to be dynamic, you know, because then it will be all the more aggressive when it finally kicks in and you want
Mm.
to take off your pants and run naked in the Swedish woods and do something, you know. So there's too much layering, I guess,
Mm.
for me at least, today, because you can do so many things. You can squeeze in a million things, but sometimes it's like, yeah, well, what's your point?
Mm.
Tell me your point. It's like talking, you know. I don't get it. You know, can you articulate a bit more? And you have to articulate in music a lot.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
really, really tell everybody exactly what you mean, and so on. So it doesn't have to be brilliant, but you have to spell it out. You know, so it's not. Yeah, I'll just overdub 6 guitars all the way through. No, no,
Okay. Yeah.
it's not good for the listener's ears. So that's not good for you. So yeah.
Okay, I see. And now let's talk about the rhythm part. Another part
Mhm.
which is, I guess, you are interested in since a long time about complex rhythm, if I can say that. Can you just
Mhm.
tell us more about how you're starting to be interested in complex rhythm? I would say Indian rhythm, because it's a
Mhm.
part which I was interested about and I don't know anything about. How does it start for this rhythm? You went to India perhaps and you started
Yeah.
listening and that's it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've always, well, I mean, not always, but since early 80s, when my brother-in-law introduced me to, well, first of all, I went to Frank Zappa, and there's a lot of odd meter going on. And I thought, bloody hell, this is hard to dance to at times.
Okay.
There's danceable, you know, material as well. But then I was introduced to Mahavishnu Orchestra with John McLaughlin and At the same time, lots of jazz, like Miles and Django and everything. And at the time, I was really into, Kiss, Iron Maiden, AC/DC, Judas Priest, whatever. And then, well, I like this too. I like Miles Davis. I like it. And I like this really, like the Mahavishnu Orchestra, the Inner Mountain Flame, has this really, and a half, it's called, whatever, you break a beat in, or a measure in half, and it's like, well, I don't understand when it's beginning forward, and I thought it was intriguing. And since I've always been a drummer, I've been fascinated about odd time stuff and polyrhythms and this and that. So this has always been really natural to me. I'm a left-handed guy. Now, some people say that left-handed people have an easier way to kind of separate whatever. I don't know if it's true. I think maybe it's bullocks. But it always came natural to me. So in Free Kitchen, I mean, we started recording our debut album, Appetizer, in, well, 92, 93. And the first song is called Blind, and it's in 11/4, which is 11/16 times 4. You got this with over a straight pulse. You probably don't hear anything. It doesn't matter. And that was really, really supernatural. And nobody, you don't have to know it's in 11/4. We have thousands and thousands of people go, wow, wow, because you have a steady beat. But it's like, I want more out of life. So why not make a song in 11 or whatever, 46, or maybe not 46, but 47. And for me, it's not harder to count to 19 than to 4/4, because you just have to live with it. And then it becomes part of your DNA. So the Free Guitar Camp, I mean, now we're at such a level of things, I have to get my shit together quite a lot each year. It's like, good God, how do I tap my foot to this? Because pulse is really important. Pulse is everything, without a pulse, whatever intricate rhythm doesn't really have a purpose. You have to show what it's doing to the pulse. So the pulse is the mother of all things, and keep the pulse. If you can't keep the pulse throughout, well, then you don't really understand it, what you're doing, because a complex phrase may sound very different when you repeat it, especially if it's odd, So, but I'm no expert in this, but I feel very secure. And when I got into Konokol, which was maybe 2005-ish, when I went to, I guess, India for the first time, I started getting into it and hanging out with Indian fantastic friends and really, magicians when it came to Konokol. And it opened up so many doors, and I realized I can keep control just knowing a few things. And to this very day, I'm certainly no Konokol expert. Maybe I'm better than my neighbors here in the woods, but for the diehard people who is doing this, I'm an absolute beginner. But I know enough to feel really, again, content. If I'm in a situation where I was, bloody hell, this is sheet paper with a million different numbers. That's really not a problem to read. You can do and so on. And I know exactly what I'm doing, and this is really, again, is very liberating. And what we do at the Free Guitar Camp is very much to put Konokol in a musical context, because a lot of people are like, yeah, have a look at this, Mattias. Everybody's tagging me for every Konokol video from some of my Indian friends, and it's just, this is crazy, it's super fun. Yes, but use it in your music. Yes, don't use it as a social media share video, blah blah blah. Hey, this is sensational, he's newborn and he's doing 255 million beat Konokol cycle. Yes, but what is it? How do you use it in your music? And that's what we do at the Free Guitar Camp, and that's where it's quite rewarding, actually, to know I know this. So drummers are usually quite afraid of me at so many times in so many clinics, from Berkeley to whatever. There's some drummers in the audience, and rhythm is our thing, and we know our shit. I say, oh, great, so let's just jam to 29/16. No, let's not. We can do 7 maybe. Oh, what's wrong with 29? Or bloody hell, 43? it's a piece of cake, you know, with Konokol, you can do it. So
Okay.
what was the question again? Like 2
Oh,
hours?
that's it. That's it. That's it. How did you just discover this multi-rhythm part of in
Yeah,
India?
well,
So,
yeah, it's been you know odd time stuff, or I mean, it's not really odd time, just stuff with different odd numbers.
mm,
Because it can be super groovy. I don't do it to be a pseudo intellectual, blah blah blah, because
mm,
I'm not. I have no degrees in everything. I'm a complete pagan here in the woods. You know, just a homebrewed guy that makes the music I want to hear.
mm,
You know, sounds like a cliche, but it's actually
mm.
true. Um, so I forgot what we were talking about.
No, it
Yeah.
was about
So
the
yeah, Konokol started
yeah.
after the first Indian tour, when I had to learn a lot of Jonas Hellborg's music, and I didn't understand shit. I said, well, this is just 5.5, and this is blah blah blah, and 19.5, and so and a half. What? Yeah, takita takita don't. Oh, okay, good.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay. So yeah, it seems to be quite natural for you now. I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to
It
know,
is. It
is
is.
it as natural as when you are playing guitar, for example? You're thinking about that, or it's in you? You don't think about that when you're playing now? How does it work?
I don't really think about it. It's
Okay,
kind of it's looped inside of me. You know, I
okay,
don't walk on stage and go takatimi takachuna takatimi takachuna takatimi takachuna. It's there. You know,
yeah, okay.
but if I feel kind of, you know, insecure,
Mm,
if I am I don't know, in a sticky situation, playing with other people, I say, oh, bloody hell. Or if, say, there's a big jam and it's in, maybe with some Indian friends, and it's in whatever, you know, 21, I go, oh, I have this pattern in my head, you know, and it's, you know, whatever 21 is, so and so, yeah.
yeah,
Then I have, you know, I may mumble it a bit so I know the chord changes and everything. So yeah.
okay.
And so on. Yes, 21. 555.
Okay. What does it bring to your music?
You can slap Konokol onto everything. You know, it doesn't have to be complex. You can just be counting bars.
Okay.
You know, to know where you are.
Mm,
So yeah, but again, I don't really use Konokol again when I compose. I use it afterwards. It's like,
no,
how do I explain this in Konokol? And this is not really Konokol material. Some things are not. It sounds ridiculous, you know. But if it's really complex, then you need it. You know,
mm,
you could do Konokol of Frank Zappa's The Black Page, which would be easier than actually hearing all the notes.
mm,
Just the last, maybe I don't know if you're familiar with this, but there's a complex rhythm structure, and it
mm,
ends with two really fast 11 tuplets. And for me, it's easier to hear than, you know,
yeah,
you define the rhythm with Konokol.
mm,
So, but for the free guitar camp stuff, I need the Konokol pretty much all along. Some things are not Konokol stuff, but most of it really is, and it's based on Konokol. I stole it from somewhere and I made it my own and wrote music over it. You know, I listen to some really strange music every once in a while, really terrible recordings of old men sitting in a circle. It's like, bloody
mm.
hell. My wife comes into the Freak Audio Lab every once in a while. It's like, what are you doing? It took me a month to understand this. I got it. And then I write music on top of it and get behind the drums and try to fake it, you know. So, yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about now about guitar technique. A simple question for the amateur guitarist I am. What's your daily practice routine if you have one? You are trying to make some scales, some rhythmic part, or just play?
Yeah, I hate to disappoint you. I've never had a practice routine.
Okay.
And for me, it serves no purpose, because then it just becomes like practicing fine motor skills. And anyone can do this.
Mm,
Out there too. It's just, you know, tech stuff.
mm,
For me, I play a lot because I record a lot, and there are many things I can't do, and I'm cool with that. You know, if I don't know, jamming, you trade off and blah blah blah, and we do this, and it's like, bloody hell, I can't do that. You know, I can't do that. I can fake my own shit, and I can make strange homebrewed sounds and everything. But I've never had this thing where I sat, with a blip blop metronome. I used my
Okay.
foot. I have a shit metronome here somewhere from Estonia. It cost about $1, and it doesn't work. It's really relative. It skips a beat every once in a while. I love
Ah.
it, but that's a different thing. So, um, because again, if you play a lot, you will become good. And for me, it's if I was to be a studio cat, or a hired gun, then I would have to sit down and practice because you have to know this and that. And but since I write my own music, I can always fake stuff.
Mm.
It's when I started to do arpeggios, sweep picking, and it started out with Frank Abali. Doing some monstrous sweep, and I was trying it out, and I realized, nope, this will take a lifetime for me to get right. So bloody hell, fuck that. I'll make my own sweeps.
Yeah.
That sounds well me, and that's what I've been doing. And to this very day, I can't do what Frank Ambali is doing, and I have no intention of learning it either.
Mm.
So. So again, but this said, if I was a guy that you would hire, say, yeah, we're going to do the wall.
Yeah.
You have to get this gear, and you have to sound like this. Bloody hell, I would survive, well, maybe a minute at most. I could never do it. And I'm quite impressed by a lot of people who get all the right stuff and they have all the right sound and all the hours, the countless hours of learning this. Yes, I know every John Petrucci lick. Bloody hell. I can't even spell to Petrucci, although he's a very nice guy. So for me, it's not really interesting. I play a lot and some things I'm good at. And yes, I can impress you. I can play fast, but it's my fast.
Mm.
And that's not what I do. I try to make music. And now with the disco album, I record a guitar on every track, but it's there for decoration and just riffing away and adding texture in a very synthetic environment with sub kicks and stuff like that. So and then you need some dirt, and the guitar is perfect for that. So I forgot the question again.
No, it was the daily practice routine, but you
Oh
answered
yeah,
that.
no daily
No daily
practice
practice.
routine for
Yeah,
me.
that's
I play a lot,
interesting.
many hours.
That's interesting because there's a lot of advices on the net on YouTube. Or said you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to
yeah. Don't
practice
believe what
this,
they
and
say on you.
sometimes you don't you just want to play and to practice in the same time. So it's a very good answer.
Word of advice. If you actually want to, and this is for, how it works for me. If you want to have a sound of your own, get off YouTube. Log off YouTube. Don't believe in this shape or that shape, and this will make you a great player, and this is a shortcut to get better. Sit on your ass and record your music and create something that's only yours, not this famous YouTuber whatever exercise, because it becomes an exercise. How will
Mm.
you kind of transform the exercise into music? And there are already 4 million other kids out there doing the same exercise. Find your own voice. That's the hard thing, but it's also the fun thing, because the other stuff may lead nowhere and you will be disappointed. But if you create something that's yours, even if your neighbors hate it and your dog hates it and your cat hates it too, it doesn't matter. It's your, and you will have created something. And that's the ultimate kick. So much more gratifying than learning something super duper perfect that you see in a shape on a YouTube video. But that's me. If it works for you, do it. But I would never. I just get exhausted from seeing the thumbnails. It's like, stop screaming at me. 10 things you have to know. For fuck's sake, you don't have to know anything of that. You don't create music. You have stuff to say.
Okay, I
So,
understand.
and
Yeah.
most people do not have stuff to say, and they can play my pants off. But I have lots of stuff to say, and I will say it until I die.
Mm. Okay.
So yeah.
I understand. It's very important to find your own way, I guess, because playing music is just to express yourself at the end. So
Yes.
we know a lot of people, a lot of guitarists have, demotivational phases, a plateau. You reach a plateau. What is your technique to go beyond that? Perhaps to write new songs, I guess.
Well, I don't have that problem.
Okay.
For me, I discover so many new things, and maybe looking back, the rear view mirror sort of, you realize that, oh, I can see now why I did this. But at the time, it was not really a conscious decision.
Mm.
Um, like, why am I making a disco album now? because pretty much I wanted to learn new things. And then I got some new stuff. And if you get new stuff, it has to result in something. New stuff alone doesn't mean anything. Like again, like practicing,
Right.
the cage system, blah blah blah. Uh, you have to dig out music within yourself, and right away, my brain just exploded from new textures and new sounds. And wow, this is great. This sounds ridiculous when I get behind my MIDI kit and play with these sounds. And this creates a spark. And
Mm.
all of a sudden, I realize, bloody hell, I've done 5 songs, and now I'm working on the eighth song, and 2 more songs. I will make 10 songs, and it's again just to maybe not challenge myself, but just to entertain myself. I'd say I have a ball doing this, and
Uh,
I'm not sure people will like it, but I have to do it anyway. I don't do it to please anyone but myself. I'm super happy if people like it. But I guess, it's the same thing. Whatever you put out, there's always someone saying, no, 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 it will never be better than your second album. I lost my virginity to your second album. It's the best thing. You can quit right here. You will never be as good. Fine, that's all right, or thumbs down. I hate your music. It's okay, because you can't really compete with that. And I'm really not interested in doing that. I'm interested in breaking new ground for myself and go where I haven't been going
mm.
before. And if you are sort of, I don't know, stuck and you say, I want you to sound exactly like this, well, find someone else to
Mm.
listen to. I want to try new things. And so the disco album is not really a follow up to my strange Mr. Libido album that I did in 1995, which was a parody of kind of, and a very lo-fi parody of techno music. This one is kind of more, I don't know. I really don't know. I just do it, and I know exactly what I want to do. And for each song, I feel great satisfaction. It's like, yeah, this is great. I haven't tried this before. And again, you don't have to listen to it. You can wait for the new Free Kitchen album. I will put it out anyway.
Okay. Mm.
And it feels good. It's just, yeah, okay, good. I got some good energy to do the Free Kitchen stuff again, because now I've done this, and spent many, many, many hours just twisting and tweaking and
Yeah.
learning and mixing and compressing, and then I just want to riff away. So you have to steer away from. I'm really, really afraid of stagnation
Yeah. Okay.
and doing the same thing. I hate that when it just it's the same thing all the time. I can't do it. I have to, even if it's a tiny little change, I have to
Yeah.
change it. Even if it's, even here in the studio, it's like, oh, so this interface, I have to put it over here today. It has to stand up like this today for no reason at all, other than, oh, bloody hell, why is it standing up like this? This is really ridiculous. Even my Blu-ray and laser discs and DVDs is like, oh, I have to put them in a different order today so I don't feel jaded, or stagnation is here. I don't want it. So yeah,
Yeah, I understand.
very sensitive
It's
guy.
a lot of experimentation you made, and
Yes,
this is
always,
what
always.
this is why you have always new stuff to learn, I guess, and to discover.
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's funny. I put this song out, which is a free guitar camp backing track called Margin of Error, which is 18 minute, and I put it out on Friday, I guess. It's part of like a tuition package that you can get from the shop with, free guitar camp material that you can sit home and learn if you haven't had the possibility to travel to Sweden.
Mm.
And some of the comments are wonderful. It's like, I read it and I laugh, and it's like, he never stops. He never ever stops. It's just constantly some new things. And there's always this guy, yeah, we'll never be as good as your second album. But some people's like, yeah, it's constantly new things. It would take
Mm.
me a year to learn how to play that. But I'm already somewhere else. It's just really gratifying to get it out there. And because it took a million years to record an 18-minute song that's kind of listenable, and has a lot of, to me at least, intriguing musical ideas and rhythms and so on. It's not a shredding piece of material. I weaved the playthrough guitar into the song to have the song do the job for me. So because this is how I want you to hear it. So yeah.
Okay. I'm bad at rhythm. What is the best advice you can give me? What I have to work on? Perhaps Konokol to feel the rhythm the better way, for example. Yeah.
Konokol is great because what Konokol is doing is to eliminate room for mistake.
Mm.
If you have a phrase that is, I don't know, or whatever, or you hear the you hear this constant and so it's a sound, you know. This was a bad example, but if you have just the sound of it, then again there are I don't like taking chances, and again, Konokol is eliminating room for mistake, you know. So that's why I slap Konokol onto my music to get the sound of it from an oral point of view. So Konokol is great. If you have something, your favorite lick, and it's kind of vague, you know, you slap Konokol onto it and kind of, you know, call the Department of Correction and they will correct, you know, this and that. So, but it's really important to keep the foot going. And white folks on the planet usually lose the pulse before they can clap the rhythm really, really good, but the foot is doing something ridiculous, you know. And I find this quite funny at clinics and gigs and everything, to have people, or at the camp, you know, I'm such a bad guy, but to have people stomp their foot, and as soon as they start clapping the rhythm, the foot is going absolutely south, you know, doing the most ridiculous things. And as I've said many times, this is only hard in your head because it's not a physical thing, you know. It's just that the mind is messing with you because you haven't tried it before. But then you have to spend time with it, you know. You have to spend a lot of time. And time is the key word to a lot of things. If you want to get good and have something to say, you have to refine your trade. You have to refine your way to play guitar or record, or where do you put the microphone to get a good sound, you know. It's about time, and time is also about time, you know, giving yourself time. You don't become a conical or rhythm expert overnight, you know. You have to live it and talk it, and walk it and talk it. And when I was kind of experienced or was introduced to Konokol in the beginning, it was ridiculous, you know. I'm blushing, you know. So what that gonna do? Now I walk the forest and scream out Konokol in the most silly pagan Indian way, you know. And you walk it and talk it, and stuff that was really complex to me in the beginning is super easy now, because of Konokol. So, and you know, it's like everything. It's hard in the beginning, and then you know it, and it's super easy. So time is the key word. Take it from me.
The last part of the interview is to talk about the Freak Guitar Camp. So it's each year, and it's starting 20 years before, that's it? 22 years, I guess.
We just did the 23rd edition.
23rd.
This for 23 years in a row.
Wow.
Can you believe it? 23 years. It's amazing. Yeah, well, I've spoke about this in many interviews, but the camp is really the heart and soul and the core of what I do. Everything is boiling down to the camp, and this is where sort of the year ends and where the new year begins. And I love doing it so much, and I can't wait to do it again. I just have my French friend Stan working for the artwork so we can address the new dates for next year. And then little by little, the process begins again. You know, what shall I, you know, get into this year? And you start building it, and it's a year-long process, you know. But it's amazing. It's really amazing. I can't believe it's been 23 years, and now we're just, boom, absolutely not slowing down one bit and heading into the 24th year for next year. What it is, we are a bunch of really dedicated guitar players, some bass players, and some drummers even, gathering in the Swedish woods. You fly into Gothenburg or drive or take the train or ferry or whatever, and we will pick you up regardless of when you arrive, and it'll take you into the wonderful place that I have I rent every year. They need me because I pay for all the whatever construction and everything, and I love the place. It's not a luxury thing. It's not like, you know, rock and roll fantasy camp or whatever it's called. There's no pool, but it's the most pretty lake on earth, and we have a sauna by the lake, and we serve wonderful vegetarian food. You will shit like a horse, or you will not actually. You will sit on your ass for many hours a day, and then all of a sudden, when you reach the airport on the way back, everything occurs. There will be the brown sound at the airport. So, but it's wonderful. We are, I don't know, 35, maybe 40 people each week, and we have guests in the evening. This year we had Per Nilsson and Ola Englund and wonderful not classical, acoustic guitar player called Emil Ernebro, and everyone has been at the camp from Bumblefoot to Guthrie Govan to everyone. It's the place to be if you want to level up. If you want to hang out by the pool and drink beer, this is not the place. But if you want to really get a serious kick in your ass, and it's not only because of me, because it's the surroundings. It's such a hardcore, wonderful place, and it is doing something to you. It gets under your skin, and your life won't be exactly the same after the camp. Take it from me. For me, it's like a drug, and I don't do drugs, but this is my drug, the free guitar camp. So
Okay. A beginner can go there, or beginner, I guess, a few years of guitars could go.
It's not a beginner thing. You have to at least know basic stuff, and even if you don't read notation, we have tablature and so on. But the main thing is that you really want to learn, and sometimes you benefit from being slightly more beginner than being a super duper pro. I've seen it again and again and again and again and again and again. That was hard to say, because you may be like an unwritten page, and you take a lot of stuff in, but you have to be able to keep up, and because it's intense and there's a lot of material each year, many black dots, many tab numbers and everything, a beefy booklet, and then you have guests on top of that showing you completely other stuff in the evenings. So I'd say it's not a beginner thing. Yeah, you just picked up the guitar, but if you are an extremely dedicated beginner, so I'm desperate to learn, get off YouTube and come to the Swedish woods instead, and we'll kick your ass.
Okay, fine. And I saw that each year you're adding new materials, you're writing new songs and new music to make a study of each song. So it's a lot of work for you, I guess. You're preparing this for a year before, I guess, no?
Yeah. I collect bits and pieces, unintentionally most of the time, I guess.
Okay.
I just, it happens, again, we spoke about the creative process and so on. But yeah, it's it never stops. The camp is always, up and running in my head somehow, what can we do? And little improvements here and there. And now we sit in a big ass tent, and I will extend that even more for next year, because everybody loved the tent. With lots of room for everybody. Where, because of the pandemic, everything. I even did it last year, and it's amazing that we were able to pull it off. In August 2020, and people showed up. From all over the place, and this year was even more. So it's cool. The camp has a bright future indeed. Even though I'm an old fart, but I have lots of stuff to say, and I have lots of friends who has got lots of stuff to say as well. And the campers really carry the camp. If I'm not there and something is breaking or whatever, everybody get into it. Or bloody hell, it's getting windy, the tent is taking off. Hey, hang on to the tent. And this year summer we had some flooding, and it drove me crazy. What do? You just go, get the water out. Pull up all the, get the helixes off the floor, and so on. And then, 1 hour you have sunshine and things are fine again. So it's cool.
Okay.
It's life in a nutshell.
Okay. If we want to go to the free guitar camp, what is the process? You have a website, freeguitarcamp.com, I guess?
Yeah, it's freeguitar.com.
Freeguitar.com, okay.
You will find links. It's not really super duper updated now, but it will be shortly, in a couple of weeks, with new dates. But registration begins 1st of February next year. Okay. Always February 1st. And be... I don't mean to sound arrogant, but it's quite a lot of people who want to attend. So don't wait until May to sign up, because then it may be packed. So yeah.
Okay, so I'll put all the links in the description, of course, for the video. And thanks a lot, Mattias, for all of these answers and this discussion. It was very interesting for me and for the viewers, I guess. I want to conclude with the different ways to contact you or to follow you. So the Freak Kitchen Band to follow you. You have also a YouTube channel, which is a Freak Audio Lab.
The actual address is Freak Guitar TV. There's lots of freak, whatever.
That's it.
So yeah.
You are posting a video per week on the Friday, that's it?
Yeah, as long as I think it's fun, I do. I'm not a YouTuber. I just use it. If I want to bet, then I would make videos about the cage system or whatever. So, but what I do is pretty much just, shamelessly promoting my own stuff and my stuff that I think about and so on. So I do what I want to do, and I have no intention of being a super duper big YouTuber. But it's a lovely platform, and I feel, this is good. Get it out of the way. Just, post it online. And I do put in some work editing and recording videos, of course. I have some good cameras and stuff like that. But this is not really what I do. It's a part of what I do, a small part. And but again, it's nice when you have some new stuff to get it out there and make people watch it and of course listen to it. So yeah, but I'm on every Spotify, whatever, Apple Music, it's there.
I need Instagram too to reach you if needed.
We met on Instagram.
We met on Instagram, that's right. So it's
a
a
song.
good way.
We met on Instagram. I'm gonna make a disco song out of that. Yes, okay, good.
You can try, yeah. So thanks a lot, Mattias, for
Thank you.
this discussion.
Thank you
It
for
was very helpful, and we wish you all the best for the future. And let's see your new album, your 2 new albums for 2022. So
yeah, thank you very
good luck
much.
for this, and have a good day, Mattias. See you soon.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.